There was a time in my life, thought I had to do it all by myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient, didn't know the love of God was at hand. Now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you've got to let it go, let it all go. And this is what you had to say. Good morning, CSL. Glad that you are with us. We're here and you're at home. You've probably got some bacon and some waffles and some eggs. We would like that too, but we can't have it. However, take that orange juice, take a good drink, get your throats ready. I'm going to introduce the music team. We've got Mark Hayes, Paul Roberts, Doug Auwarter, and at home, give a clap for our guest, Mr. Murphy Smith. My name is Lee Langston. I am your music director. Let's sing here. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
Good morning, CSL. We have 7 core values here at Center for Spiritual Living, and for the month of April, we're focusing on our core value of healing. Anything and anyone can heal. Wholeness is your natural and normal state. Our quote is from Ernest Holmes. Through a conscious acceptance of the fullness of the presence of God, there flows in and through us a joy, a love, a wholeness that touches every part of our being. I invite you to join me in prayer. There is one perfect life, God's life. This life is the perfect presence of wholeness that continually flows throughout my body, mind, and spirit. I am a manifestation of this perfect life. Its perfection is the stuff from which I was created. I open to the inflow of this divine presence through every part of my body, through all of my feelings and all of my thoughts, as it fills up my life with health, peace, joy, and love, and removes from me all that is unlike its perfect expression. I am open and receptive to the healing flow of the divine energy that is ever present and available to me. I speak my words of health, love, peace, and joy, and spirit responds. I am a vibrant manifestation of the Spirit that created me, perfect, whole, and healthy in every way. I give thanks that the divine wholeness expresses in, as, and through me. I release, I let go, I know it is so. And together we say, and so it is.
I must confess, I disagree with what he had to say. How could he not believe that God is real? I don't understand how he could feel that way. There's earth, air, water, and fire. So many different flowers, sunshine and rain showers. So many different crystals and hills and volcanoes. That's how I know that God is real. Oh, that's how I know that God is real. All of this is not by chance. That's how I know that God is real. All of this is not by chance. That's how I know that God is real. That's how I know that God is real. Oh, oh, oh. In St. Lucia, I jumped in the water, and for the first time I understood its power. And as I swam, I was healed. And if I had any doubts, this experience cleared them. Now I know for sure that God is real. I know that it's the truth by the way it feels. Oh, 'cause I saw starfish and sponges, fish shaped just like trumpets, so many different colors. I stayed out there for hours and I only saw a fraction of the deepest of the deep of the great blue wide. It brought a tear to my eyes. Oh, that's how I know that God is real. All of this is not by chance. That's how I know that God is real. All of this is not by chance. That's how I know that God is real. That's how I know that God is real. Oh, oh. We're made of the same stuff as the moon and stars. The ocean is salt water just like my tears are. Now you fill me up. Every day the sun sets and rises without fail. That's how I know that God is real. Oh, that's how I know that God is real. All of this is not by chance. That's how I know that God is real. 'Cause we got earth, air, water, and fire. Earth, air, water, and fire. Earth, air, water, and fire. That's how I know that God is real. Oh, all of this is not by chance. Oh, that's how I know that God is real. Oh, all of this is not by chance. Yeah. Oh, that's how I know that God is real. Oh, 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 birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling so good. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on the tree, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, and I'm feeling good. Dragonfly out in the sun, you know what I mean, don't you know? Butterflies all having fun, you know what I mean. Sleep in peace when day is done, that's what I mean. And this old world is a new world and a bold world for me. Of the pine, you know how I feel. Oh, freedom is mine, and I know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life. It's a new dawn, a new day. And I'm feeling so good. I'm feeling good, y'all. Said I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good.
Wow. Just when you think it can't get any better, it gets better. Hi, CSL family and friends and loved ones around the world. Welcome to CSL. My name is Kate. I'm a very, very proud and absorbing student of this teaching. I've often been asked, because I've now been in the teaching for 16, 17 years, people will say to me, why are you not a reverend? And I say to them, I think that each of us, our lives are our ministry. and I will never go to ministerial school. But this teaching is about showing up in ministry to the world. And I had the most amazing experience before I came in today. So I have a dear friend. I've known her since I was 15, so 41 years. She is a warrior, this woman, including having spent 20 years of her life finding and locking up pedophiles. So she's a real warrior. Like, I've been off diddling in theater and, doing wedding gowns and stuff, and she's been doing, like, the real work of the world. And I talked to her today because her mom just transitioned. And it was tough, right? She had a surgery, and it didn't go well, and she had sepsis, and she stopped responding, and the family had to make all those tough choices, those human choices we have to make. And she was sharing all that with me. And in 40-plus years, I've never heard my friend cry. And she recounted to me today that everyone else, when they'd made the tough decision as a family to stop all heroic measures and take her mom off of all the accoutrement that comes with an ICU, that they, one by one, said goodbye and they left. And my friend stayed and stayed and stayed. And she'd go and shower and come back and she'd stay because that's who she is. And she was sharing with me that there came this point where she had run home to take a shower and she'd come back, and she said her mom kind of looked like someone who you might find in Auschwitz at that point, had not been responsive for days. And when she walked in, she said, "Hey, Mom, it's me. I just want you to know I'm here and I love you." And her mom said, "Love you." And shortly thereafter, she passed. And my friend was sharing with me the tragedy of that for her, because she said, "Does that mean that we stopped too soon? Did we give up? Should we have kept going on?" And because of this teaching, I said to her, your mom muscled the energy and the stamina to say 2 words to you. And those few words could have been, "Help me. I'm in pain. I'm sad." There's so many things she could have said, but she didn't. She took that moment, she muscled up that energy to say, "I love you," because that's who we are at our core. And in that moment, it brought such an amazing relief to my friend. It lightened her heart so much. And that's not about me, that's about the fact that we know in this teaching that we are here to express love, and that the last thing we want to do is leave that love behind us. And what an amazing thing that is to know, because when you sit in that, then the humanness that is around us makes a lot more sense. And so I'm grateful to CSL, I'm grateful to Science of Mind for reminding me always that that's who we are. We are love. So I invite you, whether new or with us forever, to say with me that affirmation that we say week over week about who we are, our intention statement. And that is that we are a diverse and inclusive spiritual community expressing God as love. And so it is.
Okay, I think I'm untangled. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, however you're joining us, whether it's YouTube or Facebook or Zoom, listening and watching now or later. We appreciate you being here so much. Before I start, I just want to ask that you, if you possibly can, stay until the very end of the service for an announcement that I'm pretty sure everybody is going to want to hear, and pretty sure everybody's going to be over the top excited about. So give you that little teaser if you would just stay till the end so that I can share that information with you. So our theme in April is a path less traveled. And today's lesson is entitled Patience in an Impatient World, which is one of the paths less traveled, the path of impatience in an impatient world. So I think we would all probably agree that not a day goes by, or that at least not many days go by, when we don't face some sort of frustrating delay or some obstacle that tries our patience. I know what some of those are for myself. Having to slow down for something when I'm in a hurry. Internet or computer problems are a challenge for me. Things not happening on time or happening on schedule. Lines not moving fast enough because evidently I've decided how fast a line needs to move, and it's frustrating when it doesn't. So you probably know what those frustrations are for you. Generally, we do not plan for those frustrating moments. They seem to happen when we're on our way doing something else or on our way to get something else done. But have you noticed that your impatience seldom, if ever, makes things move or happen any faster? And that it actually causes more discontent and more dissatisfaction by you becoming impatient. We are the ones who suffer because of our impatience. Not the slow driver, not the person that's holding up the line. The object of our impatience is usually oblivious to our impatience. So we're not punishing them, we're actually punishing ourselves. Now, there are circumstances where we should not be patient and where patience is not a virtue, as we've heard. If we or someone else is in danger or about to harm themselves or someone else, our action could make a difference, we really need to take action instead of just patiently taking our time. But when there is really nothing that we can do or no course of action that we can take that will alleviate the situation, impatience only increases our burden, along with increasing our heart rate and our blood pressure. And it adds just another layer or another dimension of our own inner suffering, added on to an already challenging experience. So what makes patience a challenge is that we have grown accustomed to getting everything pretty much instantly. We are very much an instant gratification culture. Modern technology allows us to do certain things like earn a college degree within just a few months. We can ship and deliver goods within a few days, many times within a day. We can watch movies and TV shows literally on demand whenever we decide we want to watch them. We can text message and email within a few seconds, and I'm sure we all know, if it's not you, we all know someone who pretty much expects an instant reply to our text and our emails. News is instant. We see it happening as it is happening everywhere in the world. Our entire lives can be contained on a smartphone. Mine is. My whole life is on my phone. And it can be accessed with the push of a few buttons. So I learned a new term this week. It's called digital natives. So people like my son and my grandkids are digital natives. They were born into a world where personal computers and the internet already existed when they were born. It's normal for them to get what they want pretty much instantly whenever they want it. So we have pushed the limits of everything around us to make them happen faster. And, for the most part, that's great. We can accomplish much more in much less time. But a consequence of that is that we have, as a culture, become much more impatient. And as a whole, we have lost the patience that we once said was a virtue. So I found some interesting studies that in a way are kind of comical, but they really back up this idea of how much we just want instant. We want everything just when we want it. So the University of Arizona conducted a study of over 300,000 phone calls that were made to a hospital emergency call center. And in the study, out of all the calls that were terminated 2 minutes after being put on hold, 52% of those callers report that they just hung up. And they either found another way to solve their emergency, or they simply hung up and redialed and tried again, which meant they really went back to the back of the line again and had to wait again. So in potentially dangerous situations where the caller sought emergency services, the majority of them were not willing to wait 2 minutes for their needs to be attended to. In another study that was conducted at the University of Massachusetts, almost 7 million internet users were examined and studied to see the amount of time they were willing to wait for a video to load. And we've all probably done this, tried to load a video to watch. Can you guess how long it took for users to begin giving up if it didn't load immediately? 2 seconds. And after 2 seconds, the rate at which users abandoned the video increased substantially. After 5 seconds, a quarter of the users were gone. They had just given up in 5 seconds. After 10 seconds, half of the users had abandoned the video. Over 75% could not wait 10 seconds for the movie to load before they just gave up. Now, maybe we can't generalize and say that those in the study represent all internet users, but that was almost 7 million. And I guess I'm just going to confess that as soon as I see that little spinning buffer on Netflix or on YouTube, as much as I don't like it, my impatience starts to boil up real fast, and Mark just hands me the remote, like, I'm going to move away from this. Now, to make myself feel a little bit better, I'm assuming that most of you can identify with some of that in some way, and it's not just me. That we all know that impatience is an issue, and it doesn't make sense to be that irrationally impatient. We know that there must be a better way to act in those situations. But we find it challenging because our environment is pushing us to expect things to happen faster. We've come to pride ourselves in being faster and more efficient and to get more done in shorter amounts of time. So the rising expectations of speed and efficiency have come to mean that ordinary, mundane tasks that seem long and slow just don't meet our expectations, that things should happen faster, and that we should not have to wait. It's just not efficient. It's just not productive to have to wait in traffic, to be in the slow line, or to wait for 10 seconds for that movie to buffer. So what about other cultures? I got real curious after all of this. And I thought, is this everybody, or is it just something about our culture right now? So I saw a fascinating interview with a young guy, I think he was 19. And he had been born in Pakistan and had recently moved to the United States. So he had a really good perspective on all of this. So he said that in Pakistan, I was just used to waiting because there were no highly organized digital systems in place, and there was no technological development to speed things up. He said, my father had to go to the bank, wait in line, and speak to a banker to make any kind of a transaction. I don't know how long it's been since I talked to a teller, and physically went to the bank. He said, my mother had to go every day of the week to the corner grocery store and ask if they had any eggs. And he said 6 out of the 7 days, the answer was no, because the egg supplier just really didn't have a delivery schedule. Can you imagine that at Sunfresh? And he went on to say, I remember 3-minute songs taking 3 days to download, because when you only have 12 hours of electricity a day, high-speed internet isn't really a high priority. So our expectations for speed and efficiency are not third world problems. And he went on to say that we didn't enjoy living like that. He said, nobody likes to wait. We didn't enjoy that. But there was just no other way for us. We had to get used to the idea and the fact that there were times we would just have to wait. And that's just the way it was. So Pakistanis share and understand the importance of being patient. He said, we realize that we can't speed things up, that we cannot change some things. We can't always get what we want when we want it. He said there is a Pakistani saying, the fruit of patience is always sweet. And he said, I am a firm believer in that, because the world does not revolve around us. We can't always get what we want when we want it. Things take time. And with patience comes an acceptance of those realities. Such an interesting perspective from someone from a different culture, different from ours. He did, though, at the end of the interview say, as Pakistan becomes more Americanized or more, industrialized and high-tech, he said, you can see the Pakistani culture starting to shift from one of patience to impatience, because things all of a sudden are just not happening fast enough. So if COVID taught us anything, I think it's that the pace of our lifestyle was so fast and so rapid that we had somehow lost sight of what's really important for the sake of speed and efficiency and just getting things done. We can change the processing speed of a computer. We can change the response rate of emergency services. We can improve the efficiency of transportation systems. But what about the things that we just cannot speed up? What about the things we just cannot change? Are we going to eliminate traffic? Can we avoid being put on hold on the phone? Can we avoid can we get rid of lines that we have to stand in? Can we get rid of those altogether? Can we speed up how fast the elevator moves by pushing the button again and again and again and again? I have done that on an elevator, thinking the more I push that button, the faster it's going to get there. It is so embarrassing to have somebody walk up beside you and say, "What are you doing?" But I've done it. Now, maybe those things will be changed in the future, but until they do, it's just going to be in our best interest and to our own benefit to figure out how to live in peace and start developing patience. And that starts by realizing that not everything is in our control, and we know that. Certain things are just going to take time, and there's nothing we can do to speed them up. if we can just be aware enough to remember that whenever we feel impatient, we can be aware of how we're acting and reacting and try our best to be less impatient. If we can remind ourselves that sometimes in certain situations, we are just going to have to wait, it can be much more comfortable, much less relaxed, and we suffer much less than when we insist that something move at the speed of our expectations. And patience is just like every other practice we have. The more we do it, the better we get at it, and the better that we will be for it. Our hearts and our blood pressure and the people around us will thank us for practicing more patience. So in a culture that has grown used to speed and efficiency, practicing patience is, in an impatient world, is one of the paths less traveled. That has been one of my commitments coming out of COVID and being shut down for a year. Slow down and remember what and remember who is really important when I'm tempted to measure my life by speed and efficiency. So Steph, if you would bring up that slide. I love this quote. It says, "We are not running out of time. We're running too fast for time to keep up with us." We're not running out of time. We're running too fast for time to keep up with us. Emerson said that we should adopt the pace of nature because her secret is patience. So let's say this closing affirmation, and then we will have our spiritual practice. So let's say this together across the miles, wherever you are. I become the presence of patience by adopting the pace of nature. Her secret is patience. So let's do what we do when we begin our spiritual practice every week. Close our eyes and begin that journey inside to that place within us that is deep and still and quiet, that knows no limit, that knows no boundary, that is always available and is always calling to us to come inside. So I find it interesting that if we pay attention to how our body functions, how our body works, that we can learn something about practicing patience by just observing and paying attention to a couple of things. So if you would, close your eyes and pay attention to your breathing. Just breathe in and out, in and out, in and out. Between that breathing in and breathing out, there is a slight pause. There is a gap. Just a moment of silence. Do that again and notice that gap. Breathe in and out, in and out, in and out. Just be still for a moment as you listen and feel your breath. Feel that gap, that there's that little bit of silence between breathing in and breathing out. And now, if you pay attention to your heartbeat or to your pulse, between that heartbeat, there is another slight pause. there's another gap, another bit of silence. Just going to invite you to find your heartbeat in your chest or find your pulse in your neck. Between the beats of your pulse, feel the beat and then notice that there's a pause, there's a gap, there's a brief moment of silence between the beat of your heart. And here's the point. We can practice this gap or this pause in our reactions to what happens in our life. Instead of just reacting in an old familiar way, do what your body does when it breathes. Do what your heart does when it beats. Let there be a pause. Let there be a gap, a moment of silence between what happens and your response. Whatever your irritation, whatever your impatience might be, become conscious that you have a choice. You have a choice to live in that gap, that space between, where there is peace and quiet and stillness.
I breathe in, I breathe out, I take in, I give out, I let love, I let go, I release, and I know. Breathe, breathe. No need to push, no need to try, no need to worry or question why. Just remember, let go. We release and we know. Oh, breathe, breathe, breathe.
when you need someone to help you remember how to breathe, when to breathe. We have the most extraordinary group of individuals who can do that. They are our prayer practitioners. There's so many ways in which you can reach out to them so they can reach out to you. You can go on our website and ask for a one-on-one. You can send in a prayer request. You can go to our prayer line where a daily affirmation prayer is included. You can join right after this at 11 o'clock in our practitioner Zoom rooms where you can have some one-on-one and they can help you remember how and why to breathe. Everything that you see happening today on this stage, everything that you feel about this community, everything that we are able to affect is because of you. It is because of the way in which you show up. It is the support that you show in every way. It is the financial giving that you do that works for you. And I want to thank you from the bottom of all of our hearts, because collectively together, we are making this happen, people. And I'm so proud of each of you for being a part of that. So whether that financial giving is through your bank, through Secure Give, which is how I personally do it, right there on my phone, whether it's mailing in a check the old-fashioned way, or any of the myriad of ways, all those newfangled ways that we have, the Venmo, the Cash Apps, the PayPals, all of which you can find on our website. No matter how that giving shows up in the venue in which you choose to give, we thank you so much. We're so grateful. And everything you see, everything you hear, and everything you breathe in this moment is because of you. I love you. I love you.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
So thank you for hanging out until the end so you can hear the announcement that we want to make. We have been watching the KCMO guidelines for meetings, for indoor meetings, and they have lifted some of the guidelines on the numbers of people. So we've been talking a lot over the last 3 weeks and done some run-throughs and practices tonight before we recorded, and we feel like we will be ready to reopen to in-person service on Sunday, May the 2nd. So we are excited about that, very excited, and trust that you are too. We are going to be doing a lot of communicating with you over the next 3 weeks, starting this coming Monday, tomorrow, because there are guidelines that we still have to follow to be in the building, to be safe, and to be in compliance with KCMO guidelines. And just real quickly, so you know, we will still have to wear a mask the whole time we're in the building, and we will need to socially distance. So we are configuring the room for social distancing. We're going to be working out a reservation system to make sure we know how many people to anticipate. So we've got, a lot of logistics to work out, and that's why we've been in a lot of conversations about it. But just to let you know, May 2nd is the date, not next Sunday, but in 3 weeks. Sunday, May 2nd at 10 o'clock. So we are excited. We're looking forward to it so much. We have missed all of you more than we can say. And like I said, be watching your email, be watching the website, Facebook. We're going to kind of flood you with the information so that the expectations are out there about what we have to do to pull this off. So, but we are excited. So thank you so much for being here, joining us in all the different ways you have joined us. We appreciate you engaging with us so much. So let's say our closing affirmation. This is how we believe God sees each and every one of us. Who are you? I am a perfect expression of God, entitled to a life of love and joy. Have a great week.